Into your camera. Q Nev.
All right, thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
anger is a normal, healthy emotion which conveys a message, but it becomes a problem when it is expressed in a way that causes harm. This is where anger management and dispute resolution come into play. John Bassi is the chair of the Dispute Resolution Foundation, and Rosemary Chung-Budo is an associate counseling psychologist. Good morning to you both.
Morning,
Welcome
everyone.
to,
Morning,
welcome to
Simone.
Smile Jamaica.
Morning.
I suspect what happened recently with the unfortunate killing of the taxi driver and the bus driver would have, I guess, encouraged us to have this kind of discussion. But this has been going on. We're such an aggressive people. This has been going on forever. Do we have any reason, or do we know why, as Jamaicans, as black people, why we're so aggressive?
Well, I'm not going to attempt to talk to black people generally,
Yep.
but as Jamaicans, what we find, there are different reasons why we're so aggressive. Some of it has to do with subcultures. So there are subcultures that say, if you diss me, and of course this is defined as anything. You know, we've seen people kill each other, relatives over domino games, you know, drinks, some things that you wonder, how did it get to that? But it's about my perception of my space and who I am, and I have to defend it, and I have to defend my personhood, and in some cases it's manhood, but it's not just among men. You know, we have it too. So we also have issues with persons who are abused and who grow up in a, you know, this is physical abuse, and so parents vent their anger on them, and they vent their anger on their siblings and their peers, and it becomes, yes.
Yep.
So there are a number of reasons why in the Jamaican society anger is out of control.
Yeah. When I said black people, I meant here in Jamaica.
Okay, 'cause I was just going to say,
Yeah.
white
Yeah, I
Caucasians
meant
are
here in
angry
Jamaica.
too.
So,
Yes.
Sir John, I'm a little older, obviously, a lot older than Simone, and I've said on here many times that I remember a non-violent Jamaica. I remember when police officers never had guns. I remember that clearly. I don't know about sleeping with my door open, but I can remember sleeping with my window open, and you never had any fear. When did this start?
Okay, I don't have a particular time when it started, but as Rosemary said, I don't have the answers clinically, but I can tell you this. We as Jamaicans are socialized in violence. Many of us, rather.
Socialized in violence.
Violence. Many of us. And that's pretty much what I think Rosemary was trying to explain. Male-on-male violence is prevalent in our society. And you'll find also, especially with male-on-male, the more public it is, the bigger the ego. And if it's left unchecked, you know, not a matter of just being able to put some police on the buses to ensure that things are peaceful, but we have to resolve the issues, the core issues. So it's important that we take this situation and really look at what's behind it and make sure that we can resolve the core issue. The Dispute Resolution Foundation, we're in our 25th year now, our 25th year anniversary, thankfully, and we have programs for people who are on the front line of organizations, be it the bus drivers, be it taxi drivers, how to de-escalate conflict that's taking place.
I want to ask you, well, congrats on 25 years, first of
Thank you.
all.
Thank you.
Where have you seen how your impact is being felt? What kind of results have you seen over those 25 years? One, and two, are the results getting more difficult to achieve because the society has changed or is changing so much?
No to our results getting more difficult to achieve, because the more socialized people get to dispute resolution and realizing you don't just have to have your day in court. Dispute resolution is a way of life, right? It's something you practice. You don't just get up in the morning and do it, and in the evening you don't do
A
it.
process.
It's a process,
You have
right?
to teach people how to de-escalate.
From the
It's a
children.
mindset change.
Right, from the children right through. Our Chief Justice wants it done in schools, right? We've got school programs. We have programs as far as our professionals are concerned. And we've got organizations, government organizations, immigration officers who are on the front line. It's a full effort by our society.
Rosie, how important is a program like this? I mean, a young person who grows up in a home where violence is normalized is what they say every day. They don't even know that this is violence until they're at a certain age where they perpetrate it themselves and it starts to cause a problem.
Right.
It's a reprogramming.
It's absolutely important. And in fact, I remember when I was asked to be on here, and I had worked out an acronym. The H in my acronym was help. And that's what we need most of all, for persons to get help to understand what their triggers are, how to recognize those triggers and what to do, and how to have a different approach, how to dial it back, to have a different approach to dealing with those triggers. So the work of the Dispute Resolution Foundation is crucial.
So it should be in schools then?
It should be everywhere. It should be from your babies, you know, from infant school, that you learn what differences are, what conflicts are, and how you resolve them. And also, I must say, as psychologists too, we have a role to play so that persons can understand why it is in me that I get so angry. So there's a role for all the professionals in this area to just start working at every level. And as an adult, you can learn it too. So that's a good news. It's not just teaching children. We say, you know, some things we have to start with the children. The adults are lost. The adults are not lost. You can learn how to have a different approach to when you and someone have a difference. That's where anger starts, when you have a difference.
Sir John,
with
and these are my words, but Sir John said we're a violent society.
They are your words.
Those are my words. But I can remember watching cartoons. I mean, Fred Flintstone take up in big butt and Popeye knock out people, and all these triggers that seem to be happening didn't affect us that way. I mean, I didn't feel like take up a bat and lick down my body after I watched Flintstone.
But what did you see your parents do at home?
Exactly.
You know, what did you see in the people around you that you socialized with?
No, I was going to say, even in these circumstances, for instance, what took place in our society the other day, bystanders have a role too. Bystanders can do more than just watch film put on the internet. We need to be able to say, well, listen, this is wrong. We can de-escalate. We don't have to be a part of it to try to assist to de-escalate it as well.
But
So
there's another culture running counter to this culture of aggression. That's a culture of fear. So we hear what you're saying, Sir John, but if I look on and I see somebody draw a knife at somebody else, am I likely to run in and say, let me play mediator? You know, so I think more Jamaicans want to do better, but I think we're also living within this context of fear. So how do you be that person within that context?
Well, I do agree with you, right? Safety first at all times. However, the intervention that we're talking about takes place long before there.
Okay.
It may not be at that point there. It's part of the children, the society, the wives, the children. They demand better of their parents. Come home, daddy, why are you getting so angry? Or, you know, mom, so whatever it is, it's a culture that we have to develop. So it doesn't just start at the incident itself, it starts way.
So you're saying we could have prevented that incident had we been doing the work.
Yeah, we have to go. I told the story already that there was she was an elderly woman, but a big woman trying to cross the road. Halfway tree must be about 4 lanes. So everyone stops and she starts to walk out. Here comes this taxi driver at 100 miles an hour. So she kind of was watching. In the end, he did stop. But by that time, she had gone back on the sidewalk, but she wasn't certain. Well, I never hear nobody cuss nobody, so. We gonna see me stop, and he's an idiot, and, you know, and everybody. I don't know where that come from. I mean, I don't know if it's the air we breathe or what, but it's tough.
It's a big question. It's more than we can resolve in a really short time because it's part of what else is deteriorating in the fabric of the Jamaican society.
So search, Rosa, you say stop, inhale, reflect, choose your battles and your language, and help.
And seek
SIRCH. Guys, have a look and give it a try.
Yeah. And again, condolences to the families of the taxi driver and the bus driver who unfortunately lost their lives. Chair of the Dispute Resolution Foundation, Mr. John Bassey, and Associate Counseling Psychologist, Rosemary Chung Vodo.
All right, and if you need somebody to talk to, Rosie will tell you, go to the Jam Psych website for the accredited psychologist, JAMPSYCH.
I hope you saw how she licked me this morning and threw me down.
That was martial arts demonstration. I was doing my job.
Can we have a chat afterwards, please? Thank you. Great.
No help here.
Stop fighting, don't